Economics. Now, what is economics? Economics is the science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. This definition was given by Lionel Robbins. Lionel Robbins' definition of economic was generally accepted because it touches on the salient points inherent in economic, and these are scarcity, human behavior, choice, and so on. So let's look at the definition again according to Lionel Robbins. He defines economics as the science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. Basic concepts in economics. The basic concepts in economics includes want, scarcity, scale of preference, choice, opportunity cost. Now let us discuss them one after the other. The first one is want. What is want? Want is defined as an insatiable desire of humans. Of course, we know that humans have basic needs or necessities, and these are food, clothing, and shelter. Humans want many things, and it is the aim of production that can satisfy those unlimited wants. Scarcity. Scarcity is defined as a limited supply of resources that are required for the satisfaction of human wants. Scarcity came in as a result of limited resources, and because of this, it is impossible to satisfy all human wants. Choices has to be made in order to choose. Scale of preference. Scale of preference can be defined as the list of wants or needs that a person writes or comes up with in order of importance. Here, the person puts his or her most pressing needs or wants at the top of the list, and then the less important needs go to the bottom of the list. Choice. Choice is a method of selecting the alternative to be satisfied out of the numerous wants. Let's take for instance, the economy in a society will help to decide on what to produce and how it should be allocated. Opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is an expression of cost in items of alternative foregone. If a consumer forfeits one commodity in order to consume another, then we say it is an alternative foregone. Let's take for example, let's say Mr. John has 20,000 naira and he was faced with the problem of buying two items, a television and a phone, and the amount for both items are the same. Let's say Mr. John decides to buy phone instead. Then the opportunity cost is the television which Mr. John has forgone. The opportunity cost can also be referred to as real cost. What humans sacrifice in order to enjoy another is opportunity cost. Rationality. Rationality simply means choosing the things you like best in terms of choice. There are two types of rationality. They are 1. Banded rationality and 2. Consumer rationality. Well, let us explain these two types of rationality. The first one is bounded rationality. Bounded rationality is the idea that the cognitive decision making capacity of humans cannot be fully rational, that is, reasonable and sensible, because of a number of limits that we face. So, what are these limits that affects man when it comes to decision making? Number one, information failure. By this we mean there may be not enough information, or the information available may not be reliable. That means it may be unreliable. Or maybe not all possibilities or consequences have been considered. The second limit is the amount of time that we have to make our decisions. The amount of time that we have to make our decisions. And then the third limit is the limit of the human brain to process every piece of information and consider every possibility. Number two is consumer rationality. Consumer rationality is a condition when a consumer makes choices mostly based on his or her preferences. In this sense, a consumer is rational if he always chooses the feasible alternative that he most prefers. The choice of an alternative that is not the best is irrational. Production. Production is the use of resources to make goods and services which have values. Example is cotton being processed in order to obtain textile. Distribution. Distribution is the process of moving goods and services from producers to final consumers. It is a network of wholesaler and retailer. Consumption. Consumption simply refers to as spending for survival or over-enjoyment as opposed to providing for future production. Now, let's talk about economic problems. The economic problems are grouped into three. One, what to produce. Two, how to produce. And three, for whom to produce. Let's discuss them one after the other. The first one is what to produce. The major problems of economics is what goods and services to produce and with what quantities. Human wants are unlimited and the resources are scarce. Production became a problem in the society. The decision of what to produce and with what quantity should be carefully considered so as to avoid wastage. In free market economy like USA, what to produce and in what quantity is determined by the interaction of demand and supply. The second one is how to produce. But depending on the nature of the product, every society should take decision on how to use their scarce resources to produce goods efficiently and effectively. A society can decide the techniques to employ, either capital or labor intensive. But in developing countries, labor intensive is in abundance and very cheap. And when we talk about developing countries, it's like countries like Nigeria. Now, the third problem is for whom to produce. The goods produced need to be distributed among various members of the society in taking decisions as for whom to produce, the demand structure of the population, and the income level should be considered. Economic system. Economic system governs the solving of economic problems of the society, such as what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, and the resources to employ. There are three basic economic systems in the world. They are: 1. Capitalism or free market economy. Number 2, socialism. And number 3, mixed economy. Now let us explain them one after the other. Capitalism or free market economy. Capitalism or free market economy is an economy in which the initiative for production and consumption decision lies with an individual and companies. So the market is free from government control. And examples of countries operating capitalism are USA, France, and some others. The next is socialism. Socialism is an economic system in which the means of production and distribution are owned and controlled by the government. It is a centrally planned system in which all productive resources are owned by the government. Example: a laborer who is married with children will be allocated more things than a graduate who is a bachelor. Examples of socialist countries are China, North Korea, and some others. Mixed economics. Mixed economics is an economic system in which the means of production and distribution are in the hands of both private and public sectors. It is a system in which question of what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce are decided jointly. This system is a complex system because it combines the features of both capitalism and socialism. And examples of countries that practice mixed economy are Nigeria, Britain, and some others. Now, what are the solutions to the economic problems we have? Well, let's talk about the solution to economic problem under capitalism. Number 1, there should be allocation of resources. This will help to improve market force if the resources are effectively or efficiently allocated. Number 2, there should be freedom of choice on consumers and producers. Number 3, there should be self-regulation on capitalism. There is no need for government to intervene in the working of the economics. Number 4, competition should be encouraged among producers of a similar product in order to increase the quantity and quality of the goods and services produced. Number 5, freedom should be given to private individuals to own properties without any interference from government. Now let's look at the solution to economic problems under socialism. Number 1, there should be employment opportunity by the central authorities. Number 2, income should be fairly distributed among the people based on their need. Number 3, overproduction of goods should be avoided. Goods should be produced according to the needs of an individual. Number 4, economics should be controlled by the Central Planning Committee. They should formulate policies for the country. Number 5, since the resources are owned and controlled by the government, in socialist economy, government should equitably allocate it. And the next is the mixed economy. Since it is a joint effort on both the government and the private enterprise, growth and development should be encouraged. Number 2 solution to the problems under mixed economy: the government should provide welfare services that will improve the economic welfare of the people, such as providing water and constant electricity. Number 3 solution under mixed economy: the government need to prevent monopoly. That is, it is their duty to regulate the activities of business enterprise. Number 4, government should encourage the development of private initiative. That is, people can use their own initiatives to set up and develop their own business. Number 5, since mixed economy is a combination of capitalist and socialist, therefore, these combined effects should benefit both the system. Now let's look at contemporary issues in economic systems. Example: economic reforms, deregulation, and others. Now let's start with economic reforms. The term economics broadly indicates necessary structural adjustment to external events. It includes function of the country's spending to the level parallel to its income. It requires gradual reduction in imports and increase in exports. It also requires market change in order to make economic flexible. Some issues in economic reform include: 1, increase in fiscal deficits. A fiscal deficit is a shortfall in a government's income compared with its spending. The government that has a fiscal deficit is spending beyond its means. Number 2, increase in adverse balance of payments. Number 3, fall in foreign exchange reserve. Number 4, rise in prices. And number 5, poor performance of public sector. Deregulation. What is deregulation? Deregulation simply means removing government control from the operation, production, storage, and distribution of goods and handling them over to private section. Some of the issues include: 1, decrease in price. When the price decreases across the board, it is a positive effect on customers and negative effect on company that previously controlled the markets. Number 2, degrading of quality. The system brings competitors to the market since the government has less of an influence. There is no guarantee that the competitors will offer a quality products. Number three, fly by night. Well, what does this mean? If new companies crop up in an established yet newly deregulation market, this could draw scammer, that is, unreliable or untrustworthy operators.